Alright, let's begin. Hi guys. Where is everyone? Hopefully the music's not too loud, let me know if it is. I'm trying out NVIDIA RTX voice tonight as well, so hopefully it should be a bit clearer. Although I did find it quite clear anyway. Who we got here now? We've got Mr. G. Hi guys. Hi Mr. G, sorry. Hi Andy. Hi Old School Color. Hi Prince Phase. Music's way too loud. Okay, how's that? Demon Sons begin. Hey Stoker, welcome to the stream. How's that? Is that better? I'll knock it down a little bit more. There we go. There we go. I think that's about right. So it's Tuesday, but I'm going to drink wine anyway. So how am I feeling? I'm feeling a little better. Yeah, I still don't feel great, but I thought it's kind of worse me not doing this. This keeps me busy. This lets me talk to people. So thought I'd do it anyway. But I've been up and about a bit more. This is the first, I mean, other than work, this is the first time I'm going to have been coding, so yeah, it's really got to me. It's really quite bad. Hey Hayes. So this is from Co-op, because they did wine delivery, so it's a fair trade Chardonnay, so I have no idea what this is going to be like. It's actually not bad at all. It's from South Africa. Cool. Yeah, lockdown is, I can't cope with it at all. Thank you for the follow, Jim Michael Mariani as well. Welcome to the stream, dude. Yeah, I've been burying myself in Super Mario Maker, and what's the other thing I've been playing? Mario Golf as well on the DS. It's been quite fun. Okay, so let's remind ourselves where we got to. Oh, I'm trying out this. So there's a few new things tonight. First of all is the RTX voice, so let me know what you think as we go on, if it does make things a little bit clearer. Mario Golf is good. I really like it. It's a bit easy, but it's fun. I'll turn the music down for myself. It's a bit loud. And I'm trying out this Noah board as well, so you should be able to see when I press things on my keyboard. Because I got a request the other day for C64 debugger, and the fact that it was difficult for people following my streams to know what shortcuts I was using. So I thought, rather than explain every shortcut, rather try and mount a camera to view my keyboard, which doesn't seem practical really the way I've got things set up. I thought I'd include this little Noah board down here in the bottom right, so you can see the keys I'm pressing. Might be useful. Hopefully I don't type any passwords in at any point. Okay, so let's have a look what we got. So we got some maps drawing on screen. Did I write that? No, it's I found it on a OBS forum. It's quite nice. It's easy to set up. I set it up 10 minutes before the stream, so what I wanted to try and do tonight was animate some of the background characters, primarily the waterfall and water stuff here. But to do that, I need to start using raster interrupts, and unlike the C64, there's some kind of unique stuff. Yeah, sure, give me a sec, let me find it. There you go. You can set up for mouse as well and different keyboards and things. Yeah, don't know. Yeah, I was thinking that. As far as I can remember, I don't have any passwords that I need to enter while I'm doing this. So no, it's all right. So let me just open. Let me open a paint package. I've forgotten. I'll just do it in paint. It's fine. Just to show you what's going on with the Game Boy. So imagine this is the screen on the Game Boy. Actually, can I draw shapes for this? Yeah. So this is kind of what it looks like. Just move this up. Okay. So like that. There we go. So this is kind of the same view that we would have if we were looking at the Commodore 64 with the debug borders on. Yeah, it's a good point actually. Cheese wicked. I don't use. I rarely type a password in anymore. So there's a handful that I do, but the majority of them are. Just check. Just let me reply to that 1 second. So the Game Boy, although you don't see any borders, does have some kind of borders where you can do stuff that isn't being shown in the screen. Isn't happening while the screen's being drawn. The timing of some people with these things are terrible. There we go. So this, I'm drawing this because this kind of explains. So this area here is our screen. Wow. Thank you for the sub, Anthony Roberts. Resub 2 months. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. All goes towards more wine. So the screen itself has 154 raster lines. 144 of them go from here. So this is 0 up here. Oops. So let's write it on here. So it goes from 0 to here. From here to 144 here. And then the very bottom of the screen here is 154. So this is what's known as V blank. Because at this point you're in the vertical blank section of the screen. So that means you've got 10 raster lines where you can do anything and it doesn't and that's alright. Where you can do stuff and it doesn't affect. So unlike the Commodore 64, the Game Boy can't update video RAM while it's in this area. While the raster is in this area, it can't update it. It also can't update it while it's in this area over here. Let me just put another shape in here. So in this area here. So you can't update while you're in here, which is the main screen. You can't update here. This area is used for fetching sprites and graphics for each line. So the only other area you can update is in H blank, which is over the other side here. It's not perfectly to scale because basically the PPU spends about 17% of the time here, about 33% of the time here, and the remaining 50% of the time in H blank. I think it's 160 cycles, but that's roughly how it's kind of split up. So that means on any given line you can only update the video RAM in the last 50% of it. And that's a bit of a problem because if we wanted to update, say, 100 bytes in video RAM, you don't have enough time to do that from the beginning of this line to the end of the line. So normally what you have to do it in V blank, you have to do it down here. I discovered a couple of interesting things today. So I already knew about DMA copy for sprites. So you can do this in the VBlank area. It takes 160 cycles, which is about one line, and it copies all the information from somewhere in memory to the sprites, to the sprite data. It's 160 bytes. It's about one cycle per byte. And that's what most games tend to do when they get into the VBlank. The first thing they do is they copy from a shadow kind of sprite RAM somewhere. So people set up a 160 bytes in RAM somewhere, which is what they use at any point in here to update the sprites. And then in the VBlank, it's copied from there actually into the sprite data, so it's ready for the next frame. But what I want to do is I want to update the data in these characters here. So I was thinking I wouldn't be able to do that, and I would have to do that using DMA, and I would have to do some kind of manipulation down here. But then I discovered that the Color Game Boy actually has a VRAM DMA as well, which allows you to copy anything from, I think it is, between 16 and 2048 bytes anywhere into VRAM. And again, this is a DMA copy, so it's about one cycle per byte. So if we wanted to copy, say we wanted to animate a couple of, let's get onto that screen and try and pause it. Can I pause it somehow? Do it. Come on. So what I want to do is there are two characters in here that I want to animate at different speeds. So one at one pixel per frame, one at 2 pixels per frame, and that creates the kind of illusion of a waterfall with multiple layers. So that counts for 32 bytes, because each character is actually 16 bytes. You've got eight rows of pixels, but it's 2 bits per pixel. So you need 16 bytes to represent one character. So that's 32 bytes I need to change. Then there's a little animation down here for the water, for the waterfall hitting the water, like a splash animation. So that's another potentially 16 or more bytes, probably 32 bytes here, so that's 64. And then there's this here, which is made of 2 characters, which I also want to scroll across the screen. When do you think you make the assembly produce pixels on the screen on its own? What do you mean? This is producing pixels on the screen. Or do you mean writing directly to characters? So you don't have a bitmap mode on the Game Boy. The way you do it is the same way you would do it on Spectrum, or I think you do it like this on Spectrum. I'm important. What do you mean? What do you? I'm not sure what you mean. So anyway, what I want to do is probably animate around about 96 bytes, and obviously there isn't enough room to do that here. Now I could do it in the VBlank, but what I found today was this thing called VRAM DMA copy, and it has a HBlank mode in it. And what that does is once you start it, it runs as kind of a separate thread. And what it does is every time the raster gets into HBlank, it starts doing parts of the DMA copy, and as soon as it leaves HBlank, it stops doing the DMA copy and continues with your other code. And then when you get back into HBlank again, it carries on. Actual computation will have to produce on the screen, then program the output to draw on the screen. But I'm not doing anything that uses computational graphics. This is all tile based. It's I mean, I could do that, but I don't need to do that. This is purely tile based stuff. So but the way the Game Boy works with that is you basically draw the entire tile set over the screen, changing to a different bank if you need to change to a different bank, so you cover the entire screen, and then you update the character data on the fly, which again you'd have to do in VBlank or in HBlank. So this is what I want to try and do today. So one of the things I had an issue with last time was not knowing where my code was. So what I had was code like this, and I didn't have this section here. So let me just comment that out and show you what happens. So what I did was I changed the compile to actually output some nice stuff in colors, to actually fail if I do something wrong. So if I just do that and try and compile, actually it ran, that's annoying. Why did that run? I guess LB on its own is correct. Let's do that. Oh, why is it running? Why is that running? It should be throwing an error. Okay, I thought I had this working with errors, but apparently not. Let's clear that. Okay. Or maybe I didn't save. Let me try again. Okay, that's going to get annoying. I could have sworn I had this working with errors. That's one for another time. One of the most important things I did though was this memory map. So this allows me to see exactly what's going on in the memory map. And actually it seems like it's not updating with my latest code for some reason. Oh yeah, there you go. So what it was doing, it was putting the data for the map routines, the initialize routines in the lower part of RAM before this block here, before the entry point. Because what the compiler does, what the assembler does, is it looks at what instructions you give it, like put this in ROM 0, and then it just finds the best space for it. So it's kind of a little bit intelligent about how it does things. What VS Code extensions am I using? I am using RGBDS Z80, I think. Z80. And that's it, that's all I'm using. Hey Steps. Yeah, it's good to be streaming again. I don't feel 100%, but I'll be fine, I'm sure. I'd rather be streaming than not. I've been kind of a little bit bored, to say the least. I feel rather warm though. Yeah, so what I realised was that this is supposed to be like the header stuff. So what I did was I just filled it with some zeros, called it pre-header, set it to 00, and now when I run it, wow, it's so loud in my head, it's crazy. Thank you for the subs, Blood. Welcome to the stream, dude. What's that music? It sounds familiar. Mickey Mouse? Maybe not. Yeah, so you see now it's filling these with zeros in the pre-header, and now it's put that code in a much better place. And the reason why it needs to be the reason it needs to have those gaps is, I think, is because of these interrupts. So we're going to do that now. We're going to see if we can enable an interrupt and just have something change in that interrupt. So we'll start by the reason I want to use an interrupt here. Let me just explain as well. So we could update in the VRAM down here, but we've only got 10 lines here, and we absolutely 100% need to be changing sprites down here. Now, sprites is only probably going to take up one line down here, but I want to try and use as little of the VBlank as possible and save it only when I've got no other choice but to use VBlank. So I have this area here, which is 2 characters high, and this is going to be where the HUD is, basically. So your lives, your power bar, the keys that you've got. And the data in here is never going to change. So it's not going to change in the same way as somewhere else on screen. It's not going to have animated characters, for instance. It's not going to have a waterfall in this section down here. So I was thinking is if I set a raster interrupt that triggers here at this point on the screen, then I can actually start changing the characters here in HBlank using that DMA HBlank stuff over here. And it won't cause any kind of glitching in the middle of the screen. And that gives me another 16 lines, albeit only with half of the actual time in there. The rest will be in HBlank. But what I can do is I can use the first couple of lines to actually do the animation. And then, actually, it doesn't matter. I can do the animation up here. I'll have it in a shadow copy somewhere, and then I'll actually do a DMA copy in here. So it gives us the equivalent of about 18 raster lines. So we've increased the amount of time that we can change things without being in the screen area up here by about 80%, which is kind of nice. So I need to look up how to do rasters now. So let's have a look in here. So this is what I was looking at, which told me about the DMA copy. So you can see. Was it this page? I'm sure it was this page. Yeah, it was this page. There we go. Yeah, so there's this DMA transfer. And the reason I hadn't seen this before is because all the resources I was looking at were normal Game Boy, and normal Game Boy does have an OAM. This is the Sprite DMA transfer, but they don't have this VRAM DMA transfer. And you can see here it's got this H blank DMA. And what's cool is what it will do is it will basically, when you're in H blank, it will be copying some data. So we're actually going to be here. So it will start copying the data here. Then when it runs out of time, which it will do, if we're copying 96 bytes, it's going to run out of time. It will go back and run whatever other code you were doing, because all you do is you just trigger the instruction and it goes off and does it on its own in the, as part of the CPU or the PPU. Well, it's a bit of both. No, it would just be the CPU actually, I think. So that means we can use this area here and still have code running in this area without having to manage that kind of switch between the copy. So, because the other way to do it is you could check, am I in H blank? If I am in H blank, do this, otherwise copy this byte, otherwise do this, and that's just going to get really complicated. So I think this is going to solve those issues. Now we need to figure out how to do the interrupts. Now, one thing I do know is that the interrupts are somewhere in this area here. So there's a block of bytes that define where the jump instructions are for the interrupts. By default, they're turned off. I think in initialize, we turn them all off, or I think they're off by default, maybe. Oh no, I disable them here. They're disabled here. So this is the same as an SEI, set interrupt disable. DI, and the equivalent is EI, equivalent opposite instruction, which is enable interrupts, and this is the same as CLI in 6502. And likewise in 6502 you have RTS, and in 6502 you have RET, and then in Z80 you have RET, and then in 6502 you have return from interrupt, and in Z80 you have RET-I. And apparently RET-I is just the same as doing this, those two commands together, I believe. I don't know how that works. I mean, I guess that's why they have a single instruction. Oh, so it's still going. Looks like my stream stopped. Oh no, it's still going. There you go. Okay, so we need to figure out where those interrupts are. And they're not thrown in here. Okay, so let me just check Gameboy interrupts. Interrupts, there we go. It doesn't explain how they work though, but it looks like this is the location, so we need to set them in here somewhere. So this is all learning at the same time. So if anybody does know how to do this, feel free to let me know. Save me looking things up. So this is interrupts. So again, now it just gives me a list of them, doesn't tell me what they are. Interrupts. Interrupt master enable flag. Here we go. So there is a VBlank interrupt. There's an LCD start interrupt, and I think this is the one that we need. Because VBlank, it only triggers when you hit the VBlank. I think LCD stat, you can get it to trigger anywhere in the list. And it looks like 48. So let's try and set those vectors first. So disable all interrupts, yep. Interrupt enable register directly from the CPU. Okay, so we need to set a value of 48. So we fill here. Then this is now. It's now 48. And then there's 8 bytes of here. So I'm just going to fill it, just so we know. And then we'll fill that remaining space to the end, just to make sure. This is the annoying thing with this compiler. So it's 4850, so this needs to be tweaks it. Yeah. So just make sure that still compiles. Does. Hopefully, if we look at our sections, it's nice and neat, still the same. Okay, so now we can change the stuff in here. So this is our LCD interrupt. Now, I'm not sure what happens here. Do we put an address in here, or do we... Got a GameCube with Game Boy Player so you can stream this from real hardware? No, I haven't. But thank you for my late night retail therapy eBay search. I think you can play it on the... I think the SNES has it as well, doesn't it? Doesn't the SNES have... Is it Super Game Boy or something? Super Game Boy? Something like that. I do have this thing, so... I've got this Game Boy Advance, which is surplus to this one. So this is the one that I'm actually going to like test and work on, because this has got a backlight on it. So this is all nice and lights up, where it does if it's got battery, but it hasn't. Whereas this doesn't. So I was considering figuring a way out of getting the video signal from this through maybe my OSSC or something. There must be a way to do it. Okay, so let's go and have a look at a Game Boy interrupt example. Wow, so loud. I don't know why that feels louder. Who is that? Oh, Andy Magic Knight. Sorry about the switches. Switch issues. Sorry about that switch issues. Back now. Oh, you've been watching you're watching on the Switch. Wow. Hello. Welcome back, and thanks for the resub, Andy. Okay, that's emulating. We don't care about that. That's Game Boy Advance. Here we go. It's just some. I'm not sure if we need to put some code in there, or we need to put a redirect to somewhere else. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do some experiments. So I'm gonna turn the interrupt on. Yeah, I've just ordered a Switch Lite as well. I'll tell you what, I've been part of me not feeling well has just been me going on Amazon and ordering stuff. It's really bad. So I've ordered a Switch Lite because I've got a Switch, but it's banned online because I hacked it and put loads of copied games on it, and now I'm banned online. So I'm going to keep that for stuff. And I've ordered a Switch Lite so I can play online stuff. So they've won. They got money out of me twice. So. And then I bought this, of course, which I think a few of you have seen. So this is my beast of a laptop. She's is it completely out of power? It is out of power. It's an absolute battery monster, but it's very cool. Oh, Cisco Switch, not a Nintendo Switch. Fair enough. No, that's an Intel. It's an i9. That it gets freaking hot as well. I was shocked how hot it got. I definitely know why. Apparently, it's not just Apple that have problems. Most laptop manufacturers have problems. It has an add-on wrist rest as well if you need it. It's very cool, very, very cool. That second screen it's a game changer. It's really good. So I was doing some work on it, and I could sit in bed while doing some work and have like my TV on it on the other screen, and my debugger as well in another corner. It's nice. It's about as close as you're going to get to having a second screen without actually having a second screen. Okay, so I need to enable the interrupt. So where was it? It was that's not giving me. I need a good example of it. That's what I need. There we go. Oh no, this is Game Boy emulator. Okay, well, so there's more people emulating stuff than there's actually. Here we go. CD off. Yes, we do know how to do that. Some quality graphics there, like that. Okay. No bit of that mentioned interrupts. Okay. I don't know what I'm looking at here. This is okay. It's just gonna. So we've got this file that has lots of memory addresses in it. So interrupt flag. Okay, FF0F. Okay. Why bother with the keyboard? I like the tactile feel of the keyboard. I don't like. I absolutely hate typing on touchscreen displays. So somebody said, "Oh, just what was it? It's Microsoft's new one. Microsoft have got one coming out, and it's just two tablets that fold together. But I need that. I need the physical feel of the keyboard. I'm not a big fan of laptop keyboards. That's actually not too bad. It's quite a lot of travel in the keys. So. There in a minute, I'm sure. Okay. Interrupt enable flag read write FFFF. Okay. So we need to set the value in here right at the beginning to enable this one, bit 1. Okay, so let's do it in our initialize, which we're doing. Let's look what we actually do. So we're calling it, let's call another function, call it interrupts in here. Thing it's going to do is return. It's also going to enable interrupts, and we need to load. Oh my god, I've completely forgotten how to do this now. Oh, accumulator, there we go. 4, 5, 6, bit 1, there we go. And then I load that into, do I need to put that there like that? I think that's how it works. Mac Pro plus iPad. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't need anything else. I don't need any other. I don't need a tablet or anything. And the screen is amazing. It's a 4K HDR OLED, and it's just so nice. It's a really, really good screen. I mean, my only gripe is that it probably doesn't need to be 4K. I think 4K is probably overkill for a 15-inch screen. But the colours are unbelievable on it. I've never seen a laptop like it. It's very, very good. I did read some, what's it, like a color, was it Adobe RGB color review, something, and apparently it scores like really high, like 210% of the color gamut, whatever that means, because to me, either you've got 100% of the colors or less. I don't know how somebody can have 210%. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think this is going to enable the interrupts, and this is going to enable our LCD start interrupt. Now, I don't know when that's going to trigger, actually. Thanks for the follow, Raising. Welcome to the stream. So I was under the impression we could set a raster line for this to trigger on, but it doesn't look like we can anywhere here. Okay. Twice as bright as me, stay there. Okay. So it's not that you've got 100% of the colours, it's that there's what they call a standard, which is classed as you can good enough for whatever purpose. So okay. I think it is it's definitely aimed at creatives. You can tell with the software and the pen as well. They give you this freaking, it's just a typical stylus, but it's pretty good. Which is a shame, because all I do is load Sublime on it. But what is nice is I can fit Vice, the debugger, and a web page on that bottom screen, and have all my stuff at the top. Those knobs as well. Yeah, hipsters. Yeah. I want to do some video encoding on it. I have a funny feeling, because it's got i9, which has got the quick sync stuff in it. I have a feeling it's going to be even faster than this thing for doing video encoding, which is going to be kind of depressing. I've got this computer specifically for video encoding, and I think that might be faster. Okay, right. Has anybody actually done this before? Has anybody watching ever done Game Boy raster interrupts before? It'd be interesting to know. You didn't even give me a line to kind of. You said just kidding on the same line, so I'm trying to work out. So what I'm trying to figure out is, just to go back to this again, is there a way of setting a raster input per line? I assumed there was, but I'm not sure which one it is. V-blank seems like it's only going to trigger at this point here. LCD stat, I'm not sure where that's going to trigger, so I'm not sure if we can set the line. Interrupt request, interrupt minister enable, interrupt execution. So look. See, it doesn't explain what the interrupt is, so this is a bit frustrating. I would have thought there would be a. Oh, is this? This is a new location for it. Yeah, it's one of the original games that I've got actually. The Super Mario Land. It's the first game I ever played on a Game Boy though. And my god, was I hooked. I couldn't believe that I was playing Mario in my hand. Of course now, it looks incredibly dated in comparison. Okay, so I've still not seen anything that points to a line. I think we should just try and run this and see what happens. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to do Game Boy is because I was under the impression that you could do the same thing on the Game Boy. So you basically had very, very similar effects. I could have sworn there was a way of doing it. I think it is this LCD stat. I need to... maybe actually if we have a look at... let's have a look at this original LCD status interrupt. Here we go. Yes, so there are various reasons for this interrupt to occur. Described by the stat register FF41. So this is this one here. This looks very confusing. Yeah, you can see here. So you see these are the modes. So as I was saying, so this is mode 2, this is mode 3, and this is mode 0. Mode 0 is the H blank here. Internet PBA does not support true raster internet. Yeah, I know the NES doesn't. I know the NES doesn't, but I'm pretty sure the Game Boy does. Just need to figure out where the actual thing is for it. One very popular reason is to indicate to the user when the video hardware is about to redraw a given LCD line. In fact, yeah, it must be, because the racing games that you see on the Game Boy Color that use that kind of really, really quick rolling road code absolutely have to be using raster interrupts, line-based raster interrupts to make that work. Otherwise, then they wouldn't be able to do it. Not with that crazy, crazy timing, and then that would leave you with no space to do anything else. Support for 4 S-ROMs. It can be set to trigger at the beginning of a specified scan, at the end of scan lines. Oh, that's nice. At the beginning of all scan lines, or at the beginning of vertical blanking. So I know the V-blank because that's this one here. I assume it would be this one, LCD, CDC. Beginning of stands at the beginning of vertical blanking. So how do I get it? How do I do that? I need to make sure I'm triggering the right interrupts, because otherwise this is going to be a massive waste of time. So, interrupts. Okay, so there's only 5 interrupt types. So they must all be piled into this one. They must all be part of this LCD stat thing. which I'm pretty sure. Oh, is it this? Oh, I see. Ah, here we go. FF45. Okay, so we can do some tests around this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a value that's halfway down the screen in here. So let's just put some notes in here. So this is enable LCD interrupt. And then I'm going to put a value in here that's going to be halfway down the screen. So we've got 144 lines. So if I put 72 in here, which is 48, I think, yeah, 72, and then store that at, what's it called again? Must have a name in them. LYC. So let's have a look. This one. Right, so it's called RLYC. And that's going to trigger that interrupt. Oops. I'm going to set a V blank one as well, so that I can put things back as well at some point. And just make sure the V blank is that one. V blank is bit 0. Okay, so right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the scroll value halfway down the screen. So what we should see is the map screen displayed, but slightly offset. So one will be offset from the other, and that will demonstrate that we can actually have this value very precise down the screen. Okay, so that's what that thing does. This gives us the coordinates. So this is actually doing a compare. So unlike the C64, where you have a ROM and almost like a read and write value in the same place, where if you read the value, it tells you where you are on the screen, whereas if you write the value, it tells you where the next raster interrupt is going to occur. The Game Boy seems to have two values. So it has one value which you basically can read, and will tell you where the current raster line, where the raster line is at the moment. And then you have the next value in memory, which is the LY compare, which is where the interrupt's going to happen. So H-Blank NT48 LCD. Yeah, H-Blank is something different. I'm not sure how we get H-Blank to work, but I'm assuming that is part of LCD stat as well. So we might need to actually say which kind of interrupt it is, which is this one here. Oh no, this is the status. This is the control. So this is what turns the LCD on and off and sets the data locations, which banks they are. This is the current status. So this updates as the raster scans down the screen. This sets which modes that the PPU is in, whether or not we're in H blank, whether we're in V blank, whether ORAM is being OAM RAM is being used, or whether VRAM is being used, or whether both, or whether thing is safe. Yeah, that's exactly the thing that I'm looking at. LCD status interrupt. That's this page here. But actually, that's the old version of this page. Actually, it's not. Where is it? I put this. Oh, I'll copy it. It's the one I was looking at today. So, yeah, which is exactly. Which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to control the screen scroll X register, and this will allow me to just shift part of the screen over. But what I need to know is how do I trigger these now? So with these values set, the V blank interrupt is going to be this one here. So it's 48. This will be 40. Now I've got 8 bytes here, so this is what makes me think it's not a vector, but it's some code. So in the same way we've got this entry point here, I'm thinking maybe there's some kind of jump instruction here I can do. So I'm going to try doing that. I'm going to make another file. I'm going to call it interrupts. And I'm going to put this in ROM 0 as well. So I'm going to go and have a cigarette in a minute. And I need to import that. So I'm going to import that. Oops. Remember how to do this now. There we go. That's music stopped, hasn't it? I have control of the music in my ear as well, which is kind of nice. Alright, I'm going to go and take a quick break, guys, just to grab some, well, let's say fresh air, but all the memories used by something Commodore related. Alright, back in 5 minutes, guys, be right back. And I'm back. Oh yeah, I mean, on that note, I was considering, so I do need to do a bold dash dissect stream, but I might leave that till next week and do some Vic Bank explanations on Thursday, because I know it's something Hayes has been trying to get his head around, and I know a few people that also, you know, could do with that information, so I might do a Vic Bank stream and show you how to do some cool stuff with it as well. So there's some neat tricks you can do by switching things around in Vic Banks and stuff. So I'm considering doing that on Thursday. I don't know yet. We'll see. It's going to be either that or it's going to be the older dash dissect by the two. This wine is really nice. Been drinking rum, salted caramel rum, and it's the nicest thing ever. Okay, I'm going to try just jump into a routine in here, so I'm going to call this LCD snap to what? Now, do I have to include this before? Do I need to put all my includes at the top? I'm going to put them at the top. Just in case. Plus, it just makes it a bit neater. Yeah, I think. Hi, Prince Face. Did I say hello to you before? I'm not sure I saw you come in. Welcome, dude. Yeah, I think the Vic Banks is a good one, and there's some nice effects you can do with Vic Banks. I might find a good Vic Bank effect that we can mess with and explain Vic Banks while showing you how you can use them to do kind of cool graphical effects. So the last thing we need to do is return from interrupting here. So I just want to jump to this routine and see what happens. So we need to do it here. So we're going to jump to LCD stat interrupt, which is going to jump to here and then return. This is 1, 2, 3 bytes, so we need to just put 5 in there. Okay. Is this going to crash? Or is this going to run? Okay, it's still running, which is good. And now let's try the same with the V interrupts. Put that in here as well. So you can set scroll X and scroll Y anywhere on the line. It doesn't actually get actioned until it gets to the end of the line. So it's only when it starts in this area here. When it gets to this point, it actually looks, well, actually it's when it gets to this point, I think. It looks for the value of the scroll X and scroll Y. Now currently scroll X and scroll Y are set to 0. So that's what we want to return the value to. So we're going to put 0 back at the end here. Oh, God. So that needs to be, I think it's going to be called scroll. There we go. And we'll set a value that's something different up here. So we'll set a value. I'll say that. Do it 44, so it's in the middle somewhere. I'll give that a try. See what happens. Oh, there we are. We are getting an error here. So this is one thing I wanted it to do is to fail, show error in here and not launch, so you can see it's not launching. So this is one of the things I've changed. So has Twitch removed the followers feature? What's the followers feature? Oh my god, I'm almost at 2,000 followers. I mean, half of them are bots, but oh, can you not? Oh, you must be able to. It's interesting though. I'm not going to do a 2,000 follow stream because I don't. I actually don't trust the value I've got there at all. So the reason this is failing is because I haven't put these blank bytes in here correctly. I'm not seeing anything that would indicate that these interrupts are fired. So let's have a look and see if we can see something in here. Debugger. No, that doesn't show. Well, actually, we can put a breakpoint in there, and it does seem to have hit it. Oh no, there we go. Well, this sounds like Parasol Stars. You need to check that there. It is Parasol Stars. Ah, okay. Let's run it. Run. You have a follow button. It's an interesting one. Okay, we're definitely hitting that value. But it doesn't seem to be scrolling over at any point. So let's have a look. VRAM view, here we go.
Destroying my robot.
Thank you for the hosting there. Welcome to the stream, dude. Firefox. No, not RIP Z64 Parasol Stars. It will happen. Look, Super Mario took 7 freaking years to come out, so give me some credit. It's only been a year. Actually, it's a year, pretty much a year to the day that I announced it, so. Oh yeah, Twitch are quite big for on the A/B testing. They do it quite a lot, I think. So it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, it does feel like we're jumping to that. Okay, let's step over. There we go, F3. Okay, so see. No, not step over. I want to step into. Can I not step into? Oh no, there we go. It is. Okay, just seem to be running. But it doesn't seem to be updating that scroll anywhere on the screen, so I'm just wondering if something else is updating it. So what we should see is something shifted, and we're not seeing it. But it's definitely hitting that interrupt, which is cool. Okay, so that's definitely how these work. They're not vectors, they're just, you can put up to 8 bytes of code in this location. Why you'd want to put 8 bytes, why they're not just 3 or even vectors, 2 byte vectors would make more sense to me. But and these are definitely loading these values in, aren't they? This is a problem of trying to figure these things out. So is this one being hit? Let's have a look. It looks like we're hitting it. Wait. Just hitting the V blank interrupt. It's never hitting that. It's hitting this one, but it's not hitting that one. So yeah, it's hit that one. Run F9. Okay, so F9 is run. Yeah, it's never hitting this one here. It's only ever hitting the V blank one down here. So let's test that just by shifting the entire screen over. Okay, so we need to figure out why it's not in that LCD stat one. So yeah, okay, so we need to figure out why that one's hitting. Okay, so LCD status interrupts. Enable LY's LYC interrupt. Let's have a look in the hardware. So we've got these two values here. So this is just whether the screen is on or off. This is LCD status. So I don't think it's this one, unless I need... No, because this is... Oh, hang on, what's that? Do I have to set that, maybe? And then there's these values here. Okay. I need to look at a little bit about why. It's a raid. That's so loud in my ear, it's crazy. I need to figure out how to turn that down. Thank you for the raid, Esden. Welcome to the stream, and welcome everyone that's come along with Esden. How are you guys doing? What have you been up to tonight? I'm currently trying to figure out how on earth to do line-based interrupts on the Game Boy, and I'm kind of lost at the moment. So I hope you've had better luck than I have tonight with things. Hey dude, what have you been up to tonight? So for everyone that's come along with Esden, I'm Shalam 50k. I normally do Commodore 64 stuff, but I've started doing some Game Boy Color stuff on a Tuesday, just to mix things up a little bit. And I'm currently in the process of trying to convert one of my Commodore games to Game Boy Color. But struggling to learn some really basic things at the moment. Mainly to do with this interrupt here. I don't seem to be able to get it to trigger, which is a bit worrying. I guess we could go and have a look at this value and see what it's set to. So LYC, which is this one here, FF45. Okay, so let's go and have a look and see what's... So it's definitely scrolling the screen over in the other one. Oh, nice. Thanks for the follow, Jim. Welcome to the stream, dude. Should have the working SNES gamepad, SNES or NES gamepad, an audio module for the Icebreaker FPGA. Okay, feel free to drop a link into the chat, and if the mods are awake, they should be doing this. I should have it automatically do that on a RAID. Actually, I'm pretty sure you can set that up. But yeah, feel free to link to any website you've got for that or anything. It sounds incredibly interesting. I'd love to do some FPGA stuff. I just got so much stuff on, I just don't have time to do it, to be honest. Okay, the Game Boy music is finished. It's now moved on to 1 hour of relaxing SNES music. Okay, interesting. Hopefully, you can actually play the games on the Icebreaker. Okay, cool. Game Boy Color exists too. That would be good. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, whenever I look for Game Boy information, I tend to find more stuff about emulating the Game Boy or making Game Boy calls than I do with actual coding for the Game Boy, which is a bit frustrating. Okay, let's have a look what's in that value at FF45, because I'm hoping that is the value we set in here, this value. Because if it's not, then we've got a bigger issue. The good news is at least with the interrupts seem to be working, so FF45. It does have that value. Thanks for the resub, cheers. Host button disappeared too. Oh. I think you need to switch over to a Chromium browser. I definitely recommend Brave. Brave is a good browser. I've had very few issues with it. I'm not saying there haven't been issues. There have been a handful, but they've been kind of minor. There you go. FF45 is set to 4.8, so it is actually pointing to the right place. Do not change to IE7. Do not change to IE7. Okay. So it'll be set in stat. Okay, so this should be triggering the interrupt. So we need to have a look at how to do LCD stat interrupts. So LCD stat interrupts. I don't see anything in here that's... I want actual information on how to use it, not... Okay, we did set the right values, yeah, so we've got these 2 bytes turned on. So these two bits here are what enabled it. Ooh, what happened then? Thank you for the host, Andy. I think I clicked on some. Yeah, there we go. Something down here. How's the voice sound, by the way? Is this RTX voice actually any good? Do I sound clear or more muffled than normal? I mean, I feel more muffled than normal, so there is going to be a bit of a difference. But I've been doing a few Zoom and Microsoft Teams calls recently. I think I just have a bunged up nose anyway. I think I don't feel great, to be honest. But I've had my aircon on full while I've been doing them. I haven't got it on at the moment, but I have had my aircon on full while I've been doing those meetings, and nobody's complained about it. So it's quite impressive, actually. I'm waiting on them doing the green screen thing, because when they do the green screen thing, I'm going to extend this code area to fill the window completely, and just have my little head bobbing around in the bottom corner. I refuse to buy a green screen, but I don't mind using a green screen app. There are apps out there, but they're not very good at doing it. So we're still not getting anywhere with this. Oops, that's really bright. Off my eyes. But it is really impressive. I mean, if I clap my hands, I don't know if you can hear. It blocks that out, which is really bizarre. So it's kind of cool. It should get rid of the keyboard clicks as well, which is something that people have complained about before now. That's RTX voice. Yeah. It's really good. I'm really impressed with it. Like I've got my fan on full here, and it's pointing pretty much at the microphone, and I don't see any noise from it at all. It's very, very impressive, and a good use to actually use my computer for things. Yeah, it does seem to block out the typing, which is nice. Okay, interrupts. Okay, interrupts. Here it goes. I'm still kind of learning where the good places are to go for these things. Okay, this is more than I need to know. I just want to know how to turn them on. Okay. Okay. And then this is using C to do this. Oh no, this is JavaScript? Oh, this is an emulator, isn't it? Okay. Okay, this is emulate stuff. Damn it. See, this is what I mean. Everything's about emulators. Yeah, it will block out the joy. I think what it does, I think they've trained it on human voice. So what it does is if it's a non-human sound, a non-human vocal sound, it blocks it out, which is probably why they've called it RTX voice, actually. I mean, it's very impressive what they've done. Very, very impressive what they've done. What the hell is that? What did I click to bring that up? Okay. Hey, 8-Bit Yarrow, welcome to the stream, dude. If you clap and talk at the same time, you get a mix of it together. So, there you go. You can kind of hear it if I talk, but I think it muffles it still. You want to hear the keyboard. You want to hear the typing. Yeah, it's bizarre. So I watched a video of somebody with an industrial fan pointed at their microphone and a hammer. It was hitting the table with a hammer, and it was clear as day. You couldn't hear a thing. It was crazy. It's eerily quiet. Yeah. No chip music either. I think it's on very quiet, so let me just notch you up a little bit. There we go. It says relaxing SNES music. It's actually, I'm not that keen on this. There's not enough music. I'm going to go back to the other one. There we go. Prefer the Game Boy one, but I couldn't find a 10-hour one. Okay, we're not doing very good with this, so let's try and figure out how on earth this is being triggered. What this is. This is right stuff. It's definitely to do with this value here. Permanently compares the LYC and the LR registers. Start becomes set. That interrupt is requested. But we're not seeing that interrupt get triggered. So if I put so we can see here 48 is actually the correct value. That's what I set, which is round about here somewhere. Actually, no, it's less than that, isn't it? It would be, let's see, A0, B, no, 90 would be 144, which means 90 would be 144. Yeah, 90 is 144. So 48 is literally halfway down the screen. It's like here somewhere. but we're not seeing that get triggered. So if I go back to the beginning of memory, so these are the two interrupts. So this is the V blank one, this is the LCD one. And if I put a breakpoint on that and then run the code, you'll see that this never gets hit, but this does change. See, it's changing. And you can tell it changing because this value is moving around here. So the code is running. Does it block out farts? It probably does block out farts, I'd imagine. Although they're a human noise, aren't they? So I don't know. The cool thing with it as well is for those who work at home and use things like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, you'll probably be familiar with kind of the person on the stream who's got Hoover going on in the background or lives right next to a railway line. You can actually set it to filter their sound as well, which is really cool. So you can clean up other people's sound. I don't have any farts, I'm sorry. I don't have any farts. It blocks wine slurps, okay. That's cool. Thank you for the bits, cheers. But unfortunately, I don't have any farts. Oh my god, I don't know how to do this. I feel like this should be triggering. I feel like it is set. If we go and have a look at FF, it's this one here, isn't it? 03, yeah, so we do have both of those bits set. It's not triggering that on for some reason. I could have just said that, but I'm an honest guy. I'm gonna trust me. If I get one, I'll do one, and you can tell me if you hear it or not. I doubt you will though. It seems to block out everything. It seems pretty good. Okay, so nobody here has done this before, so this is kind of interesting to figure out. Oh god, dogs are the worst, right? Dogs really, yeah, they don't. In fact, they surprise themselves. That's the best thing. When they're asleep and they do a fart, and then they suddenly wake up and look at their ass. It's like, well, do you not know what you've just done? I'm very probably to indicate that it's. I feel like this should be working. I don't know why it's not working. The V blank is definitely working. I tell you what. For now, I don't want to spend too long on this. I've got the V blank stuff working, so let's do some code in the V blank, and we'll move that. We'll move that into the right place at a later date. Because what I want to do is I basically want to set 3 interrupts here. So I want an interrupt that says I'm at the top of the screen. And in this interrupt, I'm basically just going to do what I normally do, which is set a flag, or I may do it at the end of V blank. It doesn't really matter. So maybe I'll do it at the end of V blank. So basically, I set a flag in V blank to say, do your frame code now, and it will be at the end of V blank. So whenever this is finished, in fact, let's do that now. So we'll do this now. So we need our RAM, and we're going to call this frame ready flag. In our initialize, where's that gone actually? Where's our initialize? So in here, I'm going to load 0. I'm going to put that into our RAM location, which is frame ready flag. So this is much like I would do in 6502. It's basically the same thing. So we have a flag, it toggles between 0 and 1. When it's set to 1, we can do stuff. When it's set to 0, we don't do stuff, which means in this bit of loop here, which is this here, this is our main loop. I cannot remember what this is doing. I think this is switching our screens. So let's... Oh, we're going to have to change this because now this is happening. Core map draw. Okay. So what does this do? This is incrementing a value temp2, and that value is being incremented here. So every time that cycles all the way around, it's stopping, which at the moment is just continuing to do. But we really only want this to happen. Oh, it's only happening once a frame because of this code here. So if we get rid of this code and change this for a frame ready flag check instead. So we're going to load accumulator with frame ready flag, and then jump relative. So this takes 2 bytes, one for the opcode, one for the relative address. This takes 3 bytes. This is Z80's way of getting around the kind of jump distance too far thing. You know, in 6502 where we have a branch instruction that's more than 128 bytes away, then we have to invert it and use a jump instead. This is their way of getting around it. So you use this wherever you can, and if the jump distance is too far, then you change it to a JP and it gets around it. And the branch instructions are basically jump instructions where you say what the condition is. So jump if 0, back to main loop. Otherwise, what we do here is we will load the accumulator with 0 again, and we'll store that into frame ready flag. So this code now is doing the same thing we were doing before. So all we need to do is in our oh, what's that done that node? That should be 0. All we need to do is in our VBlank interrupt here at the end. So before we exit, the last thing we're going to do is finally set frame ready flag. Okay, so this is a good test of whether our interrupt code is working, because now this should do exactly the same thing it was doing before, but now we're doing it without using the main 83. Okay, we're doing it without... Oh, okay. Can I do that? Maybe I can't do that. Oh, do I have to do unknown symbol start main loop? Oh, there we go. I also have to do a compare here. I can't just... Is that right? Yeah. So the other differences as well. So on 6502, whenever any register is updated, so if you load something into a register, or you shift something in a register, or you transfer something into a register, all the flags are set, depending on what you do. On Z80, that's not the case. You actually have to explicitly compare a value in order for this to work. So we're going to compare if it's 0. Jump to main loop. So hopefully this should compile now, which it does, and we should see exactly the same thing. Screen changing, which we do. Cool. Yep, seems to be exactly the same. So now we're using a frame ready flag. So now we're not actually waiting for raster lines. So actually we've saved a few bytes here because we did have a kind of messy thing down here. Let's put a little note in to save here. Flag. And let's put a note in here to say what this is, because I kind of forgot what this was. So this is temporary code to time and switch screens. And again, you see here there's a jump without a condition, so this just means jump straight to this location. And kind of like you can do in 6502, you might see things like this: branch of overflow clear, and then loop, instead of doing, because this takes 2 bytes and this takes 3 bytes. And overflow is almost always clear. You can pretty much know that the overflow is going to be clear unless you've done some addition or subtraction. So this is basically doing the same thing. This is a jump that only takes 2 bytes because it's using jump relative. It's a really nice feature of Z80. Actually, it's something I do wish they would put in 6502. Or would have put in 6502. I'm not expecting them to change it now, obviously, but. Okay, so in that case, let's use this v blank code to do some VRAM updates for now. I'm going to create another file. I'm going to call it VRAM updates, all lowercase, and this is going to be the only place that VRAM actually gets changed. So we'll do chart and shadow copies. So the way I'm going to do everything for this game is I'm going to keep shadow copies of the data that I need, and then do DMA copy when I actually want to copy it. For now, we'll do it all in the VBlank, but eventually we'll be able to split the shadow copy into areas where it's less kind of destructive. Okay, so let's move that over here, and let's import that up here as well. VRAM updates. So we are going to have to initialize RAM, and I'll explain what that is in a second. But that's going to be one of the first things we need to do. So we initialize the font, we initialize the sound, we initialize the palette and the interrupts. We're going to have to call this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a copy of the characters that we want to animate, and we're going to store them into RAM somewhere. So in RAM, I need to create some blank space. So I'm going to call it waterfall, and it's going to be 32 bytes. So as I said, there's going to be 16 bytes per character because you've got two bits per pixel, which means every 8 pixels that are displayed on the screen is actually 16 bits, so that's 2 bytes, and there's 8 rows of 8 pixels, so that's 16 bytes per character. So to do the 2 waterfall characters, I need 32 bytes. So I'm gonna reserve 32 bytes in RAM for that. And then the first thing that this is going to do, so this is our initialized RAM, is it's going to copy that data from wherever we store it. Now I can't remember where we store it, so I need to get my little post-it notes. I need to load this up. I need to figure out where the waterfall character is. So actually we only have one waterfall character here, which is a bit frustrating because I thought there was 2. Oh no, there is 2. There we go. It's just the palettes are wrong. So let me set the palettes to correct value. Doesn't actually remember the palettes in here, so that's a bug I need to fix. But you see the palettes are correct out here. So the characters are 166 and 182, which is super annoying. I'm hoping they'd be in consecutive order, but they're not. It's fine. It's fine. Actually, that is a little bit annoying. Maybe we do need to change these around. I'll tell you what, let's get it working for one for now. Let's get it working for character number 166. And then I'll move it, because I think everything that should be animated should be in consecutive space in here, so you can do it in a single DMA transfer rather than do it in separate DMA transfers. Because then what you've got to do is you've got to monitor one DMA transfer to see when it's finished, and then when it's finished, update the next one, and that's just going to get a little bit messy, I think. So we'll just do one. We'll just animate that one down and see what happens. So the initialize means we basically need to copy the 16 bytes that make up that character into this area here. And the reason we need to copy it into here is because this is RAM, and the place it's coming from is ROM, so we can't directly change that data there. So we need a copy of it so that we can act on it. So we're going to use RAM for this, and we're going to have to copy that. So if we look at assets, we can see that that's imported. Oh god, this is confusing. Fonts, okay. Bank 1x, bank 1. Okay, I think we need to look at font loader, initialize fonts, init font. Here we go. Copy font loader, copy font. So the destination is 9000. So this is where our font gets copied to, and we want sprite number, tile number 166. So if we have a look in calculator, so we need 166 times 16, because it's 16 bytes per character. So it's A60 plus the 9000 here. So 9A60 is what we want. So that's our source, basically. So we'll load that as I think that is going to work, because I think you can load a 16-bit value in, where you just do one DMA. Yeah, so I'm trying to avoid doing multiple DMAs. So there's going to be one for the sprites, definitely. But there'll need to be another one for the characters. So I do want to rearrange these so that they're consecutive in here, so it's just a single DMA rather than doing it. Because if I don't, then I've either got to copy more than I need, which is going to be a waste of cycles, or I have to do individual ones, which means I have to poll to see if the previous one is completed, which I don't want to do either. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do this one for now, and then I'm going to move all animated. So I need to add some functionality to this so that I can switch characters around. You know, like you can in Charpad, where you can like right click on one area and it will switch the two over. So I'm going to create an area, probably down in the bottom here somewhere, where I put things like the flames, the waterfall, everything that should be animated and will need a DMA copy down at the bottom here. But for now, I'm just going to do one just to make sure that this whole thing is working. Okay, so we're going to load that value, and the destination is going to be waterfall. And then what do I need to do? So I need to load the accumulator with the value from HL and increment that. Need to think about this, because if I want to do this 32 times, should I do 16 times? Should I be having, maybe I need another one, maybe I need this, maybe I need to be incrementing that as I go along. So so this would be stored at the location pointed to by DE. Store the accumulator there. Then HL is already incremented, so I need to increment DE, and then I need to increment B. Then I need to load the accumulator with the contents would be, and compare that to 1 0, and then jump. God, what is this? Is this jump with non-zero? Yeah, jump with non-zero because it's a subtract. Same as 6502. A comparison is basically a subtraction that doesn't keep the value, just sets the flags. No, annoyingly, the Z80, the values are, as Richmond might give me a really good way to remember this actually, high-low. So high, oops, high, low. If you just think of the value, so H will be 9A and L will be 60. So I think it automatically converts it into the format that it needs it in. I'm pretty sure in the output assembly it will be in little endian, but the assembler accepts it in big endian. It's a bit weird, but I guess that's what you get for using 16-bit registers. I've got to say, I'm really enjoying this. It's been a while since I've done some assembly, and I'm enjoying it, so it's good. I'm not enjoying it quite as much as I would do 6502, but whatever. Create a loop here. Okay, I'm just going to run this just to make sure this has actually copied something. So this is in WRAM. So this is at C000, I believe. I can check it in the debugger anyway. And this should copy 16 bytes from our location at 9A60. So we'll go and have a look at 9A60, and then we're going to have a look at WRAM. Oh, you can see it there actually, yeah. It's in my see. That's so good that I've sorted that out. I'm quite pleased with that. So the waterfall is at C003, as you can see down here. So let's go and have a look in the debugger. So first of all, let's have a look at 9A60, see what's actually there. Oh, because we're loading the destination, which is wrong. Loader. Isn't it loader? Font tiles, there we go. So actually this should be font tiles plus 0A60. Oops. I have no idea where that is, so font tiles. Oh, it's in bank 1, which is at 4,000, I think. So it's the first thing. So 4A60 will be the location. We should be able to see in here actually. Yeah, there we go, 4,000. So 4A60. So 4A60. It's still showing up as blank for some reason. Whereas the data down here is not. Okay, so this is just going to have copied a load of zeros. If I go to C003, it's just going to be blank with zeros. Oh, well, kind of annoying. I mean, it's not. It's got the 09 in here. There you go. Let me just put, just for testing purposes, I'm just going to put the value BE in here. It doesn't really matter what I put in. I just want to see what's actually going on in there. Because I would expect this to have filled that area. It would have filled that area with the correct values, but it doesn't seem to have done that. Oh no, see it has, there we go. Has filled it with bees and it has done 16 bytes, so that's correct. I think the source is wrong. I think the value it's getting from the source is incorrect. It just seems to be you talking at the moment. I think we've sent everybody else to sleep. Okay, so it seems to be getting the correct values. Or it seems to be storing the correct values, but I don't think it's getting the correct value here. Maybe this is wrong. Let's try again. I'm busy with Jeff Midnight. Head is exposed. Okay, let's have a look where that actual code is. Char anim initialization. Okay, so 02F1. Let's just make sure it's actually picked up the right value. So 4A60 is definitely what it's grabbed here. You see here, 4A60 little engine. But that is not what we're seeing in the tile. So 4A60 is the ROM banks. Oh, hang on. See how ROM 2 is enabled here now. Ah, okay. We need to switch the right banking. See, it goes ROM 0, ROM 2. Okay. So we need to make sure the correct bank is loaded in here. So if we go into theming updates, initialize. Bank fonts, which is correct because bank fonts is here. Right, hopefully now. So actually the value I'm going to see in 4A60 is going to be wrong anyway because it's ROM 2. But so what I'm interested in is have I got the right values in C003. And this is looking better actually because now we have got a mishmash of values which kind of matches what we would see. I think that's probably right. Okay, cool. So it's good. We probably don't need that. It's probably pointing at the right bank, but I'm going to leave that in there anyway. So now we need to do the shadow ROM copies. So what this is going to do, first it's going to, let's put some notes in here what we need to do. First, animate shadow RAM. Now copy shadow RAM. And we'll split this into two things. So the animation will happen somewhere else. Actually, let's actually split it into two pieces. So let's do shadow RAM copy here. And the animate. So I want to animate things going down. So what I need to do is the same thing I would normally do in 6502, where I'd loop through 8 bytes, store the last one, shift everything down, and then put the last one back at the top again. Problem is this needs to be done in 16 byte chunks. So I need to load 2 bytes to somewhere else first. So, actually, do you know what? I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to take a quick cigarette break. When I come back, we'll do this bit. Should be pretty easy to do. Hey, Warlock, welcome to the stream. Everybody's woken up now because we said everybody was asleep. He's trying to figure out where everything's disappeared to. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys, and then we'll get this bit working. All right, right back. And I'm back. Yeah, it does run on Java, unfortunately. I wish it didn't. I did consider at some point trying to write a different kind of assembler for it, but to be honest, I'm not going to try and replicate what they've done. Chiz is a programmer. He's just lost his way. That's all. His poker game's awesome. He's inspired me to make some multiplayer stream games, but I've just not got time to do it. But I will do it at some point. I've got a really good idea for one that at some point I will do, but just not yet. Okay, so it looks like that's working. So we need to do the animation. So what I want to do is I want to take the last 2 bytes. So I'm going to create some labels up here, which I think I do like that or something. Okay, create the label and equal. Okay, so and this is going to be actually we've already got the label here, haven't we? We don't need it. Okay, so we've already got that label. Get rid of that. So I'm going to save some values in B and C. So I'm going to put, what's 4 plus? So 4, no, yes, plus 14. And let's see, with waterfall plus 15. And this needs to be the value that's there. Like so. Now I need to loop 8 times, and I need to copy from one location to another. So how am I going to do this? So I've got H and L, and D and E, and an accumulator. So I'm going to use the accumulator to have my loop counter in. Seems a bit wrong, but we'll do that for now. And then I'm going to load HL with waterfall, and the destination be waterfall plus 2. Okay. Then what I need to do? Oh no, I can't, because I can't use this because I need that to transfer things around. That's why it's wrong. Hey Thalamus, welcome to the stream, dude. Okay, so we've got all these registers, but it's still not enough because of the stupid way this works, because you don't have index registers. I would kill for an X register right now. Okay, I'm gonna use this temp value here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna store that in temp 1. Right, so this is our setup, and now we need to do the actual loop. So this is where the loop is going to be. Oh, really? Can't post under your Thalamus account. Must have been banned for lewd behaviour. What have you been doing? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what LDIR is, but it sounds like it would be exactly what I need right now. Slagging off spectrums. That's not lewd behaviour, that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly normal behaviour. In fact, I would say yeah, exactly. I knew it would be recommended. Okay, so you need to load the accumulator. I'm going to do that so many times. Load the accumulator with the value that's in HL, and we can implement that. and we need to store that into DE, and then we need to implement DE. Then we need to do the same thing again. So that's going to copy our 16 bytes, our 2 bytes, sorry, into the next 2 bytes down. Actually, we need to go backwards through this, don't we? This is no good forwards. This needs to be backwards. Okay, so this should be 14, and this should be 12. No, this should be 14. This should be 12. And we need to go backwards, so it needs to be like this. God, this is... So we need to decrement the value in HL. Why is my caps lock on? God damn it. Bit of Tetris music. Okay, so let's decrease in through the list. Then we need to load the value from temp 1. Actually, can we just decrease the value directly in memory? Can we do that? Can we do that, I wonder? I bet we can't, actually. Doesn't look like we can, looking at this. No, we can't, can we? That's stupid. Alright. But we can do that, okay. And we need to compare that with... No. We need to implement, sorry. Because we start at 0. We need to compare that to 7. And if it's not equal, we go to loop. And then we need to put these values at the top. So we need to load waterfall. So it's all good. We need to load waterfall with the value in B. Can we do that? Or do we have to use A there? I think we might need to use A there. I will check in a second. I'm going to put +0 here just so Right, I think I'm going to need to change this because I think I need to use the accumulator as a interim. Call. See what happens. Okay, well, it didn't fail, which would imply that these probably have worked. So we can go and have a look in the debugger and see what's actually happening in there. So if we go down to C03 or whatever it is, do you see values moving around? No, we don't see values moving around. Oh, we don't see values moving around because it's not running yet. We still don't see it moving around even though it's running. Is it running? If this changes, then it's running. On the break. Okay, so these values aren't moving. Okay, let's go and find where that routine is and make sure it's happening. So, oh, if we initialize shadow ramp animate, but we're not seeing that anywhere. Why are we not seeing it anywhere? So let's find Storm. 0256. Okay, let's go and jump to that location. Well, hey Akmafin, are you doing epic RPG? Oh, you just posted a message to me, Andy. No, have you been banned from my... I don't think you've been banned from my channel. So, yeah, it could be... I'm not sure what that is, actually. That's unusual. Yeah, I don't know what that is, unfortunately. Sorry, dude. Okay, so it's 256. It's that piece of code. Could be an IP issue. Yeah, I guess if you share, if it's dynamic IP, maybe somebody, maybe the IP you've been assigned has been banned at some point. I certainly don't ban anybody from my channel. I don't think I've banned anybody from it. Okay, it looks like we've hit this breakpoint, so we have hit something, which is this bit here. Although looking at this, that shall I? Oh no, that's this bit here. Okay, frame ready flag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instructions for. Oh, this doesn't look the same. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's missing a chunk here. I don't know why it's not updated. Just make sure everything's the same. Oh yeah, we're not seeing the animate stuff. I'm just gonna put a label in there just to see if I can see it in here. No, you see, it's not showing up. There should be another label in here, and it's not showing. Does it cache these? Or is it an error? Maybe it's an error. Maybe it's these things here. Maybe some errors aren't showing. So maybe what I need to do is... I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if I need to do this. This is just the ridiculousness of Z80. I'm still not seeing any errors anywhere. Oh. See, it is showing errors, but it's not failing, so I need to fix my build process. Main 16, 27. Okay, line 27, so it's these things here. Okay, so I do need to do this. It's fucking stupid. Now I'm getting... Okay, so I was getting some weird stuff going on the screen, but okay. Ignoring what's going on the screen, let's just go and have a look in... God, where is it now? Debugger. If you are going to ban... Yeah, I don't think anybody's been banned yet. As far as I can tell anyway. Oh, hang on. Why is my... Oh my god, my copy of the stream is way behind. There we go. So this is the block of code. This is the block of data. It does seem to be copying things across. You can see it's flickering around, so it is doing something. And actually you can see the ASCII kind of moving, so it looks like it is... I mean, it's keeping the same ASCII, it's just kind of spaced out, so it is doing something. Why it's doing that on the screen, though, I don't know. If I comment that line out. Okay, so the one thing to remember is if I need to load anything from a memory address, it needs to be through the accumulator. So, okay, calling that does actually break things because the screen is drawing correctly there. Let me fix that interrupt because the interrupt is showing in a weird place. How do I show more of these? There we go. Let's put that back to 0 so it's actually running correctly. So this looks fine. Everything looks fine. And then when I do that, when I call that routine, thanks for the follow, Frazem. Welcome to the stream, dude. Yeah, when I do that, things go horribly wrong. Which makes me think maybe there's another value that we're breaking or something when we hit that thing. So this is where the animate happens. And this should only be affecting data in that loop. So let's just turn the loop off and just immediately exit and see what happens. Okay, so something in this loop here, I bet it's to do with the temp value. It is to do with the temp value because we're using it down here as well. Okay, so this is a 0-page conflict issue that I always get. So let's call this temp counter 1. Let's change this for temp counter 1. Okay, good. Everything's working correctly. Is it going to change? It's not changing for some reason. Ah, it's not changing because we keep resetting it here, that's why. I get the hang of this in the end. It's been a while since I even touched assembly, so there we go. Right, okay. Okay, cool. So I think as well what I'd like to do is just make sure every screen is the same for now. So I'm just going to change this all to be 4.1. Because I just want to see the waterfall, I don't want to see anything else. That's not the right one. Okay, what screen is it? It's... Okay, so it's going to be 2, 3, I think. So one of these would have been 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So we've got the waterfall on there. Right, so the thing we need to do now is in the V blank, we need to call Charon shadow copy. So in our interrupts here, we'll do this. And this is where we need to do the DMA. And I've never done this before, so this is going to be interesting. So let's go and have a look at the DMA copy thing. So it's this one here. DMA source high, DMA source low. Four lower bits of this address will be ignored and treated as 0. So actually this ideally needs to be at the beginning of a block, because that means actually, I'm going to put a note here, DMA copies are aligned to 16-byte blocks. Okay, so we need to set these values up. So we need to FF51. Hopefully they're in hardware ring. Let's have a look. They are as well. Horizontal blanking general purpose DMA. General purpose DMA. It doesn't really tell me anything in there. So I will use these values, but they're not very descriptive. So high and low. So FF51. Okay, so random copy. So we need to set our source, which is going to be waterfall. So I believe we can do that. Can we do that? I think we can do that. And then we need to store the high value into HTML1. Oh, but this is so annoying that you have to do that. It's such an inefficient way of doing things. Okay, so let's set our source. Now we need the destination. So the destination is high-low. These registers specify the address within 80 to 9 of FF0 to which the data will be copied. Only 12 to 4 respected, others are ignored. Okay, only bits 12 to 4. So that means the upper 4 bits are ignored and the lower 4 bits are ignored. So does that mean... Okay, let's give this let's try and experiment a little bit here. So I think what we need to do is we need to work out our destination, and our destination is not font tiles, it's the destination of our font tiles. So if we look in assets, no, not assets, sorry, loader. Where's our loader? Where's loader gone? Did I unload it? Yeah, I loaded it. There we go. So we're loading into 9000. So we know this needs to be at 9A60. So I am going to put like that. I mean, I've got an actual label that I can use. Hey, Game Dev 513, welcome to the stream, dude. That's in map. I want that in map. I want that in. Nothing interrupts. Where's my? Oh my god, is this? Have I just moved all my? Bit of Parasol Stars again. It's the same 1 hour of music repeating, but it's so good. Okay, so this is what we want to. This is where we want to go to. So I'm going to start by just trying to put that value in and see what happens. And this will pretty much be the same code, but now it will be HTML3, HTML4. Then UDMA length node start, so this is HTML5. Initiate a DMA transfer. We want to initiate it. We can use. We'll turn H blank DMA on because that's fine. So doesn't really matter. Oh no, actually no, we can't use. Okay, we can't use H blank DMA because, like I said here, H blank only actually happens in this area. So if I just draw a square on here as well, so H blank only happens in this area. If you're in V blank, H blank never happens, only V blank happens, so it needs to be general purpose, so that needs to be 0. The lowest 7 bits specify the transfer length divided by 16 minus 1. So our transfer length is 16. So divided by 16 is 1, minus 1 is 0, so we need to set 0. So this is all like so, and that needs to go in our HDMA 5, and that will trigger the DMA transfer, hopefully. So let's see what happens. It could be that this value is wrong. We may need to adjust this value because of the way it works. Because of this line here that says only bits 12 to 4 are respected, others are ignored. So if we look at that value, 9860, let's go and let's put it in the calculator actually. So if we put 9860 in the calculator and look at it in binary, we do get this value here set, which makes me think maybe it's not, and this one here as well actually. It's ignoring these 4 and it's ignoring these 4. These are the only ones that are respected. Oh no, actually it said 12, so it's 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah. So these are the only bits that are respected. So I'm thinking it probably will work actually, so yeah. Hey Mr. Jacob, welcome to the stream. Good to see you feeling better again. I'm feeling okay. I still feel a little bit shaky. Still got some stomach issues. My sleep patterns are still screwed up, but they're getting better. I've started with a better routine, which involves kind of eating at the right times and trying to force myself to stay awake when I feel tired, kind of inappropriate times. But I'm definitely feeling better than I was 2 weeks ago. But I'm still not 100%. I'm enjoying this though. This is really good. This is good for my mental stability. This is really helping me enjoy myself again, which is good. All right, let's give that a try. Okay, so it hasn't crashed, which is good, but we're not seeing anything on here. I don't see any errors in here either, which makes me think the DMA is not actually happening. So it'd be good if we could find a way to check the DMA here. Actually, one thing we can do, let's just pause the DMA for now. Let's do an actual copy. So let's do it manually first. So let's take our destination to be not char destination, but waterfall, and our destination will be waterfall char destination. This could be a banking thing as well, so it's good to try this out first to make sure that we're in the correct bank. And we'll set the B register to be 0, so we'll use that to check, and we'll stick a loop here. I could get used to the different syntax. What? Okay, whatever. I'll use spacebar. Okay, so we're going to do 16 bytes of copy. So we're going to take the value that's in HL, and we're going to increment HL, and we're going to store that at the byte pointed to by DE, and then we're going to increment DE, and then we're going to increment B, and then we're going to load A with B, and then we're going to compare that to 1, 0, and we're going to jump non-zero to loop. Okay, I'm getting the hang of these loops. Getting the hang of those now. Okay, so if this is working, hopefully we should see something here. This is done in VBlank, so there's definitely time for it to happen. Okay, so this could be a bank issue. Let's have a look what's happening in the debugger. So we're going to check 2 things. First of all, we're going to check that the actual RAM code is the RAM bytes are being shifted around. So it's this section here. So we're looking from this point onwards, and we can see that they're moving, which is correct. And it runs really quickly. Is there a way to slow this down? Okay, no. It's definitely running, but we're not seeing any change here. So let's go and have a look at 9A60, which is our VRAM, which we can actually see if we go to VRAM viewer. So these are our tiles. The weird thing is they're split into two. Oh, hang on. It's 8A60. It's not 9A60 because of the stupid way that the okay. So one of the annoying things about the character sets, you can see here, this is the character set that I've actually designed, and this is the character set in VRAM. And one of the annoying things is if you shift the character set into the second half of the RAM bank, of the VRAM bank, then you actually have to split it into two and display them in kind of reverse order. So we get the first half in the second part of the bank, and the second half in the first part of the bank. So it actually needs to be 8A60. So I can change that up here. And boom, there we go. We've got animating stuff now. And you can see how it's animating in two separate pieces here. So let's try that with the DRAM. DMA, sorry. Let's see if that's doing the same thing. So it kind of worked there. So let's get rid of all of that. So that's our non-DMA version of it. So let's try it with DMA. I mean, it's good that it works, but we obviously want the fastest version of it, and this version only takes 16 cycles once it's triggered. I mean, it obviously takes more than 16 cycles to set off, but it takes 16 cycles once it's triggered. So boom, there we go, it's working. Okay, so what we can do now, just to test this out, I'm gonna do especially if I do it, get a few seconds to move through a locked door. No, I will be fixing that bug. So that bug is because the reason that bug exists is because I used hardware sprite collision. I designed the game to not. I didn't want to waste any time writing code on any space using code to detect sprite to sprite collision, when with a bit of clever design around the levels, I could make sprite to sprite collision work, and everything was fine until I changed the way that the character worked. So what happened is when the character died, he appeared where he started again, and he wasn't invulnerable. And I decided that no, that's not good. In fact, a friend of mine who was testing it said it would be good if he was just invulnerable for a couple of seconds. And so I took the cheap route and I just made him turn on and off. But of course that broke the sprite collision. So what that meant is that when the sprite disappeared, you could move through the doors because there was no sprite collision. So that flickering caused the issue. I do have a fixed version that when I do finish Doc 2 eventually, we'll get rid of that and actually changes it for a color flash instead, like a color ramp. And weirdly, it actually saved me a few bytes doing it that way. Okay, cool. So what I want to do now is do the same thing. Animate shadow RAM animate. So this is waterfall char 1. And I'm going to do the same with char 2 as well. For now, I'm just going to copy the block down. Eventually, this will be contiguous RAM. So it shouldn't matter. But for now, we're just going to have to do it like this. So plus 16, so this is 29, plus 16, so 31. We can use this temp counter again, that's fine. Oh, see, this is where the DMA is going to fail. The DMA is going to fail here because now what it's going to do is it's going to wait. So what I'm going to do, well, it's just a way to test that this works, I guess. Okay, so somewhere in here there is a value. Where is it? I think it's this one here. Then start estimation enough of bits of 3. Confirming if the DMA transfer is active. Reading bit 7 can be used to confirm if the DMA transfer is active. 1 not active, 0 active. This works under any circumstances. Remaining determine H blank. So we need to read the value in here and compare bit 7. So what I'm going to do is for it to complete. Oh my god, my typing's completely knackered. Oh Jesus. Accumulator with the content of FF. Well, it's this one here. Okay. Jesus, I think I need to finish soon. I'll get this working for 2 characters, and we'll move them at different speeds so we can see the waterfall kind of working, and then I'll stop. So we need to and. Can I just handle with a value? Does that and the accumulator? Ah, there we go. And accumulator with the number. Okay, so and the accumulator with pair with 0. Jump if not 0. Wait a minute. Let's read that again. Bit 7 of FF55. 1 is not active. Okay. So if it is 0, then it's active. So do that there. And then what I'm going to do is this whole thing again. So another DMA. DMA for second char. And obviously this destination needs to be plus 16, and this waterfall yeah, okay, that's fine. So this is going to copy both now. So with waterfall chart 2, I need to be grabbing, so initialize RAM, I need to get 2 values. So set this second one up. So this is char 182, so let's have a look in the calculator. So it's 182 times 16. B60. Okay, so this would be B60, and this would be waterfall plus 16. There we go. Okay, so that's both our characters. This is the animation, which is going to happen. Plus 0 plus 1, so this needs to be plus 16 plus 17. I think that's going to animate both, so hopefully now we should see both working. Thank you Animex11 and welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so I'm only seeing one there. So did we animate the second one? Maybe we didn't animate the second one. So waterfall char 1, yes. Waterfall char 2 should be being used here. Okay, so if I don't... Right, okay, hang on, let's have a look. So we're animating, so we start... The first one is not being animated. Okay, so let's just turn that off. Let's see if changing that actually animates the second one. I have a feeling it's probably not going to. No, it's still animating the wrong one. Yeah, so if you look at the if you look at the way the levels are laid out, at no point do any two enemies ever touch each other. So enemies don't touch each other, and they also don't touch a door either. So they're designed to always avoid hitting a door, hitting a power up, so a key. Actually, it's just keys, isn't it? Yeah, the whole thing was designed specifically to avoid those situations. That's why Loop 2. Yeah, Loop 2. Loop 2. Hopefully now that should animate. Okay, weirdly it's animated. Oh, it's animated the bottom ones for some reason. I put them in the wrong place. Oh, because it's not this. This should be 8B60 like that. See, this is why I need to change this DMA. Non-contiguous DMA is kind of bad. And there we go, we've got the other one working now as well. So if I restore this, hopefully everything should be running at the same time. Then all we need to do is slow them down. Yep, they're running. It actually looks a little bit flick. No, that's fine. That's deliberate. They are slightly different. The flash is because the screen is changing. That's fine as well. So what I need to do now is just slow these down a little bit. So we're going to have another thing in RAM. We're going to call it frame timer. And this is just going to be 1 byte. And this is just going to be exactly what we do in the other 6502 code. So we're just going to have a value here, here basically, which is always going to increment frame time. So let's see if that works. Actually, it might not work. So main 91. Okay, so that doesn't work. So what I need to do is load up emulator, increment on the store and back. See, that's so inefficient. That is so inefficient. This is why, even though the C64 is 1 megahertz, it's so much better. Because it does things in a much more efficient way. Okay, so now frame time is being set. So what we can do now, so we can set some skips up here. Okay. And then before we even go into this, first thing we do is we load the contents of frame timer, and we AND that with let's do 0.4 and jump if, hang on, so if it's non-zero, we'll jump to skip. Like so, and then we'll do the same one in the other one, but we'll do it with a slightly different timer, like 8 or something like that. And hopefully that should give us 2 animations that run at slightly different speeds. Okay, there seems to be a bit of a weird glitch in one of them. Oh, I know why, because we've jumped to skip char 1. There we go. Not quite right. I don't know why that's doing that. Okay. So it seems to be going at slightly different rates for some reason. Let's slow it right down. Let's slow it down to 1, 0, and 2, 0. So jump, skip char 1. Okay. Skip char 2 is here. What? Yeah, let's try and have a look at the debugger. I feel like there's something not quite right going on here, so let's look at our RAM locations. Okay, so we've got RAM location frame timer. No, not one. Oh yeah, frame timer. Sorry, those. So that's going to be C020, which is this one here. Okay, it seems to be counting up correctly, so maybe I've got my comparisons wrong. Okay. So we load the contents of frame timer, and we end it with 1, 0. If we're not, hang on. Oh, I'm just being a moron, aren't I? It needs to be like that. I'm so worried about thinking about Z80 that I'm failing to actually do basic assembly. That's better. Right, okay, so let's slow that down. Speed that up, sorry. I feel like this is still going to be too slow, but there we go. That's the effect that I wanted. So I just need to get the values right there. So I think this would probably be 3, and this would be, I think that's probably going to be right. Maybe I need to do one faster than the other one. Maybe this one doesn't need to actually do the skip at all. So you need to get them right, basically. Okay, I think it needs a little bit of work to get it right, but the basics are there. I think the first thing I need to do is get the DMA transfer contiguous, because having it... oh god, where's it gone? Having it spread out like I do is kind of bad for so if I just move these down to here, it also means that I can save space in the character set by not having all the frames of animation for the flames in here as well. Because what I can do is I can store them somewhere else in memory and just have them copied in 1 frame at a time, which means I've got much more room for animation in the tiles than I previously had. Oh, where have I gone to? There we go. Hey Judo, have you done? Speed up the slower one a bit. Yeah, I mean it's already running quite slow. I mean it's already running quite fast. I don't think I can get it much faster than that. I feel like I need to see it. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. It just doesn't feel quite the same as it does on the C64. So, okay, that flashing is a bit annoying. So I'm going to go and put the levels back to what they were, so it at least kind of makes sense from a level point of view. And I've closed the bloody window again now, haven't I? Yeah, I need to figure out why that slower part feels wrong, because it doesn't feel right for some reason. Why didn't that work? Okay, so let's put some other maps in. So well, let's just do maps on either side of it as well. So let's do 1, 3, and 3, 3. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it definitely does look all right. It's not as good as the C64 version though yet, and it needs to be as good as, if not better, because we do have more colors to mess with. Also, I'm not using any of the Color Game Boy. So Color Game Boy has a turbo mode, which doubles the speed of the CPU, which gives me twice as many cycles to mess around with. I suspect I'm going to use that at some point. Yeah, well, let's try it out. Actually, let's get the Game Boy. Let's give it a try. So, actually, I need to put some power into this one. It's charged for a while. I've literally done nothing for 2 weeks. Just sat in bed. I'm quite sad, really. Okay, so game.gb is what we want to replace. So open with the File Explorer. Let's grab projects. Okay, game.gb was written today. Yep, that's about right. Oh my god, how does this thing work? There we go. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll do it on the top screen. Let me get it on first, and then I'll show it on the top screen. It does actually look a little bit better on the bit. It's kind of hard to see on that. It definitely does look a little bit better, but I can definitely tell that it's not quite right. I gotta say though, it's the Game Boy Color is really good as a next platform from the Commodore 64. So if you're looking for another platform to port your C64 games for, C64 games to, definitely recommend the Game Boy Color because it looks incredible. I'd love to see some classics on this. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, need to figure out why that's actually happening, but why it doesn't look quite as right, but it does look pretty good though. I'm kind of pleased with that. So it took a little while to get this going tonight, mainly because I didn't understand how the interrupts are working. In fact, I still don't know how the interrupts are working, so I need to figure out. So at the moment, just to go back to our diagram, at the moment we're doing everything down here. Now I'm going to draw yet another shape on here. So we have this area down here that is for the HUD. I'm going to save this picture as well because I think it's quite useful to have this. So what I want to use is this H blank area in the HUD. In fact, it's much bigger than that. This V blank is kind of not doing it. This V blank is too big, really. I should probably shrink this down a little bit. like that. There you go. I mean, it's still bigger than that anyway, but basically I want to use this area here for doing those updates, or for doing the DMA for those updates. The updates can happen anywhere around here, that's fine, into Shadow RAM. So the actual routine that does so this routine can run anywhere, it doesn't matter, because it's only using RAM, it's not using VRAM. But this DRAM copy, this Charanim Shadow copy, I want that to happen here. And in order to do that, I need to get my line-specific LCD stat interrupts working, and I'm not entirely sure how to do that yet, so I need to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, it's not pretty. I mean, it is Z80, so it's kind of messy. And we have no index registers, so it's not even proper Z80. It's like a weird Z80. Oh, hey Zardo. Yeah, as I say, it's kind of Z80. It's Game Boy Z80, which is a kind of messed up version of a proper Z80. I should finish that bowl. It's all gone now. There we go. Last glass. I'll finish this glass before I go to bed. So, but I'm quite pleased with that. So the things I'm starting to get used to is putting everything into RAM. So all my variables go into RAM. So with 6502, I tend to kind of dot my variables around. So I'll have a byte of memory in the middle of a function, or between two functions, that is used for something or other. You can't do that on the Game Boy because it's all ROM. There's only a small section that is RAM. So what I would do on the 6502 is I would have a section in 0 page that I would define labels like this, and I would use them for fast access variables. So kind of getting used to moving all my variables into a RAM specific area is a strange thing. It also means I can't do self-modifying code. So a lot of these loops could have been made very, very quick by using self-modifying code in 6502. And unfortunately, having to do things like well, like this, for instance, you know, loading an address in, and having to load the high and low bytes in separately. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could do this by loading I mean, I could probably save a couple of bytes here by loading directly into here, you know. I mean, I don't know how you would do it in here, but in 6502 or Kick Assembly, you would do it like this. You know, you would load the high byte of that, and it would save an extra step. But for the DMA copy, I'm not too fussed. But there are cases where it's just a little bit weird having to do that. So, like here, for instance, I want to store the value of B at this address, and I can't do it directly. I've got to transfer that B into the accumulator, and then I can transfer it. So that's a little bit strange. But I'm kind of getting used to that now. Having to compare all the time. So doing loops backwards really doesn't seem to have much advantage on Z80, because the 0 flag isn't set unless you explicitly compare against 0, or compare against a value, and then it sets a 0 flag. So that's a little bit odd, but I'm getting used to that as well. I can kind of see why that. I mean, you know, people say, oh, Z80 it's got so many registers, but actually you kind of need them all in order to do basic things. So yes, the 6502 has only got the AX and the Y, but you know, you can do an awful lot with those three, and in fact I think it's way more efficient than Z80. I think Z80 is very inefficient. It's nice having the DMA copy. I wish the C64 had something like that. It would make, you know, full screen, full color scrolling very, very easy to do. If you could do a fast copy of you know, data from one place to another, it'd be super, super easy to do full color scrolling, full screen, full color scrolling, without all the crazy shit you have to do at the moment. What else have I done in here? Okay, I've realized that I need to organize my sprites, so my tiles. So I need to make all these animated tiles in a row somewhere. So I need to update this editor to actually allow me to do what Charbag can do, which is, you know, click on one location, right click on another, and swap the two tiles over. So I need to be able to do that and just kind of click here and swap these two over and then just move everything down to here, because there's no way I'm going to go in and manually move everything. And I need to work out how to do the interrupts, the H blank interrupts. Well, the LCD stat interrupts, and then I can use the H blank copy to do this stuff down here, which at the moment I'm having to do with two separate DMAs and then a wait in the middle. I don't want to have to do this wait in the middle. What I want to do is set this to copy 16 blocks, 32 bytes, sorry, not blocks, at once, all in a contiguous block in memory, and not have to wait in the middle. And then that way I can do it in the H blank area, so I can do it here. I can turn it into H blank mode and it will just start copying here, which means I can still do stuff in this bit here, but whenever it gets to H blank, that DMA copy will take over, which will make it much more efficient. I mean, essentially, I've got this amount of screen. You know, I've got less than, I mean, what have I got? 26 lines out of 154. So we're looking at about 15 to 20% of well, less than that actually, because it's half of that. So that would be the equivalent of 18 lines. So we've got between 10 to 12% of the time in the screen that we can update the video RAM. The rest of the time I don't want to update it, even though we could technically update it in this area. It's going to be updating things in here. So the only thing I would want to update in this area is stuff that's in the HUD. Likewise, everything that's in the main screen needs to be updated in the HUD area or in VBlank. But the HUD really doesn't have much to do. I might do the same color fading that I do on dock, but other than that, cool. I've really enjoyed tonight. It's been good. I think it's been good for me. I think it's sorted my head out. Will I go back to working on the C64 fighting game? I will. What I've done, so I made the grave mistake of trying to work on, let's see, let me count in my head how many it was. Hang on. See, I can't even count straight. Yeah, I was trying to work on 5 different C64 projects at the same time. Oh my god, with the Creatures 3 thing, I am not working on Creatures 3. I know it's a long running in joke, but it's not happening. Sorry guys. Yeah, I was working on five games, and I think it was starting to burn me out a little bit. So I've not, the only game that I have completely parked that I'm not working on is a shoot 'em up game I started before I started Parasol Stars. That's the only game I've completely parked, and the reason I've completely parked that is I don't think there's really much need for that game. There's a lot of very good shoot 'em up games out there. You've got Sarah Jane Avery, for one, is making some amazing shoot 'em up games, so there's really no need for me to do those. Yeah, you must have seen the scrolling shooter that I started on. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. I don't think it's on my normal YouTube channel, actually. I think it's on... Let's have a look. I don't think it's on my normal YouTube channel. I think it's on my my personal channel. It is on my personal channel. All right. I'm sure I've shown this to you guys before, or on my Evolute Games, yeah, because I have got an Evolute Games channel, which is what, thinking about it, I should have actually put all my stuff under, but like an idiot, I used the name Shellan. No, it's not on there. So this has got my very old stuff onto it. It is on my personal one. But this is the only game I've completely parked, just because Um, I kind of started work on Parasol Stars not long after I started this, and kind of lost the desire to do much more on it. So let me just pause. For some reason, I have an issue. Oh, hang on. Hang on, what's Andy saying? Don't type. No, I haven't typed password. Don't worry. No password typing has occurred. It's fine. So this was just it was kind of in the vein of Armalite and those sort of games. Armalite and the kind of shoot 'em up levels on Turrican, basically. But thank you, Andy, for the reminder. Yeah. So this was an experiment in scrolling starfields, enemy sequences, multiplexers, character bullets, and things like that. It's very, very simple, and there wasn't an awful lot to it. So yeah, software sprites for the bullets. But it was kind of nice. It was just something to kind of get the juices, the Commodore 64 juices flowing, if you like. Border sprites at the bottom. So it's a full screen scroller, but it's not using full color scroll. You can tell. I mean, everything's a shade of yellow here, but it does use the Armalite trick of when you transition between kind of stages of the same level, then the colors change. And I was testing out my graphics capabilities as well, so I was trying to figure out how to draw things in 3D, so that the ship is very much a kind of experimentation with that. Why not a quarter screen scroller? Yeah. So that was actually the first game I started making when I came back to the C64 after so many years, and that's the only one I've absolutely said I'm going to pause. I'm not. I wouldn't say I've completely abandoned it. It may get visited one day, but I have no desire to go back to it. Everything else I've done, I have a desire to go back to. So for me, the most important C64 projects at the moment are one I can't really talk about. The Saturday project as well, obviously, which I think we're getting very close to. Actually, I think in the next month or two, that's going to be going into kind of play testing. I do want to get power-ups in there, but I think we're kind of getting close to finishing that now. And then it's Doc 2 and Parasol Stars, which I want to do fairly soon, and then probably the fighting game after that. The fighting game, I just kind of, I think graphically it looks nice, but play wise it doesn't feel quite right. I will revisit it, and I will get it working, but it's not quite right yet. Okay, I think I'm going to call it there, guys. I'm almost out of wine. Thanks for coming along tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I've kind of missed this. It's been good to get back into it again. Let's have a look. Who can we raid? Yeah, it's good to be back. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's have a look. Who's around? Tonda So what's Tonda Ghost playing at the moment? It just says retro. Oh, Gunstar Heroes also retro. Okay. Well, let's give Gunstar a raid because he's only on 6 at the moment. So let's give him a raid. Oh, he's playing Game Gear. Interesting. That is interesting. Okay, yeah. So Gunstar Heroes is playing Game Gear games. So let's go and give him a raid. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming along tonight. Me connects to Wednesday's free. Try to install Java on my Windows 10 VM. It says Edge is not supported. Oh my god, seriously. Yeah, I had no sympathy for you at all. No sympathy for you at all. Cool. I think it's been really good. I think mentally it's really helped me tonight. So thank you guys for coming along. It's been really good to see you. I think I've kind of needed this. I think I've missed this. I was unsure how it was going to go, but it's been pretty good. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. Like I said, I think I'm probably going to do the Vic Bank thing on Thursday, and we'll do Boulder Dash the week after. But I need to come up with an idea of how to demonstrate it. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, guys, and see you on Thursday. Cheerio. Bye.